Yes. Good morning, everyone. Today, in communication skills session, we will discuss about some basic things. Workplace communication is very important to companies because it allows companies to be produce and operate effectively, and employees can experience an increase in moral, employee relations, and productivity and commitment. So before this, we'll go for what is the meaning of basic definitions of communications and how it will work. What are the advantages of that, and what are the barriers of communication? These all things we'll discuss one by one. So here, communication is the art of transmitting information and ideas with any groups or with the persons. Okay, communication is the art of transmitting information, ideas, and attitude from one person to another person or one group to another group. Communication is the process of meaningful interaction among human beings. Okay, so this is the interaction between the human beings. It's easy to share the knowledge. Okay, so next thing, what does effective communication means? So the process of communication is what allows us interact with other peoples. Okay, the process that will be help to supply the information. It is a vehicle to supply my knowledge to others and to get their thoughts. You need some vehicle. So that vehicle, the communication language, will help us, like that language or body languages or verbal or non-verbal. This all plays like the vehicle. It will carry the information from one group to another group. So like that, that's why this definition they have given. The process of communication is what allows us to interact with the people. Without it, we are unable to share knowledge or experiences. So if you're not having any vehicles, it is highly impossible to supply the products. Like that, it is very highly impossible to supply our knowledge from one place to another place. Means one group to another group. So common forms of communication, what are that? Means speaking, writing, gesture, touch, and broadcasting. So these are all basic forms of communications. Speaking means you will use the words, any languages, it will help you to supply the informations. And writing means you can write, you can use characters, you can use alphabetics, different languages that is having the meaning, each word, each character is having meaning. With that, you can supply the information. Gesture, so body languages, showing the facial expressions. So these all comes under the gestures. Touch, sometimes what it will do, you touch and you will call someone. So by touching that, you will give some informations. So broadcasting means in the mass media, in radio, in TV, in broadcasting the information. One person is sitting somewhere and it is giving the information. Now what I am doing, I am giving this information sitting in one area. So that will be visible to the number of persons. So the broadcasting. So one person to number of persons, that communication will be supplied. So like that you can explain the effectiveness of communications. Levels of communication, verbal and non-verbal. So intra-verbal means modulation of words and sound, the variation of words. If you call someone, please come in. So that is what you are very politely and very respectably you are calling. So that will be shown in that particular modulation of the voice. If you say, come, sit. So that is having the different meanings. So that words variation of the sound, the pronunciation will have the different types of meanings. So I'll give the examples in the next slides. Extra verbal, implication of the words. Extra verbal means implication of the word, explaining that particular word. So some words are having different meanings according to that situation. It gives the different types of meanings. So that's why you have to be very careful about that particular words. Non-verbal means gesture, what I earlier we told. So gesture means how we are pronouncing the expressions and body language, how we stand, posture, the standing activities and dresses and relaxation of your bodies and bending with in front of, means like that, different according to that particular person to whom you are speaking. So like that your body should be, it will have its own postures and movements, more utilizing that particular areas. in seminars, in counseling areas. So in counseling, we'll sit one area and you can go. If you are having any public functions on the stage, you'll have the space to movement over there. And then the person who is having some instruction training online, means he has to cover all the stages, and he has to move over to the board. Like that, movements will be covered. Every movement is having one, actually movements of your hand are showing that graphicals with hand modification your fingers. So these all are having the non-verbal movements. Symbolic, by seeing the symbols you can supply the informations. Assume that, for example, if you are moving on the road, so at that time suddenly will assume that you are riding a bike. By seeing that particular board, you will put the brakes because they are having no entry. So by that, seeing that particular board, that board is having some graphic design, so it is working as an intermediate between you and the traffic rules. Means by seeing that particular symbol and graphic, you can know some knowledge. You will follow that particular instruction. No entry, or breakers are there, please don't horn. So like that, different. Here in the industries also we are having fire, some danger mark will be there, some color combination will have you the some meanings. So pictures also you are using here in the industries. That picture itself giving the some information. With that picture is having the media to communicate with your employees. So like that, these all levels of the communications. Now, what is the important thing, main important thing in the communication? Value of listening. The listening quality, if you have that one, so easily you can get involve yourself in that particular communication. Because if you listen well, then only you can give that information back, you can give the feedback, and after that work will be processed. So when you are listening perfectly, then only that project will be complete very nicely. So that point to point we will go now. Listening to others in a legend of art, means the fine arts. If you have the good listening power, that means sense of silence, and giving the full concentration on that person, what he's saying, and what he want to explain to us. So these all things you have to concentrate on when you are having the listening. That is a good listening qualities. Good listening reflects courtesy and good manner. So if you have the good manner, so when you are listening, that will motivate to the speaker. He will give the more informations. Listening carefully to the instructions of supervisors, improving competency and performance. If you listen your supervisors correctly, what information they have given, what instruction they have given, according to that you can improve yourself, your professional field will also improve, and you'll have the good competency. So next, good listening can eliminate a number of imaginary grievances and of employees. So if they have some, if they just go to their managers or subordinators and co-workers, and if they have communicating, just listen carefully. So whatever imagination you are having about that person, that can be removed. So because what things he's having, if you listen completely, you'll have the different opinion. You should not give the sudden opinions. Just you have to listen what he is saying, what is his feeling, what about that particular work, and like that. The result of poor listening skill could be unsuccessful in business, employment, and social relation. If you're not having the good communication, the way of communication, there is a chance of losing the social relation also, friendship or some family relations also. If you're not having the good communication with your family members, that is also cause. Good listening skill can improve social relations and conversion. So what if you have good communication, you have a good friends, social relations, everyone will honors you, they will give the respect, and they will have the good conversation with those all people. So like that. Listening is positive attitude. If you have the listening quality, that is one of the very best important positive attitudes. Okay. Next thing, essential of communication. So some points are there. Always think ahead about what you are going to say. So before saying something, you have to think. If I say these are things, what are the results will become? Is it true or false? Am I having the full knowledge or not? So these are all things you have to think. Use simple words and express that are understood by everybody. So you have to use very common words. So according to that particular audience, you have to use that particular word which is very easy to understand by them. If they are not understanding English, if you are going telling about your information in English language, there is no use of that, because they are unable to understand that particular words and that languages. So that's why you have to know your audience, or you have to know your subordinates to whom you are speaking. So according to that, what they can understand, with that you have to go. That particular language, that level of language you can speak. That is better to give your information to understand them very well. And also increase your knowledge on all objects you are required to speak. Whatever you want to speak, first you have to work on that. So you have to collect all the information regarding that particular subject. Then only it is very easy to communicate with that particular subject and very confidently. And also you can speak clearly and noticeably. Means you have to have the very clearly you have to speak. Means word pronunciation or the meaning what you are giving, which word is giving which meaning. So that will be very noticeably you have to speak on. You have to have the sense when you are speaking the words. Check twice with the listener whether you have been understood correctly or not. So after completion of his information or communication, they just you have to give the feedback. These are things okay you have told and I have understood. These are, is it correct or not? If anything is wrong there, so they will explain you, they will come back to you and they will explain, okay, I have told this, but here you have to make the changes here, you have not understood this one. So like that the communication will be continues. The relation also bonding. And next point, in case of any interruption, always do little recap of what has been already said. So always something, if you're going to say something, somewhat should be repeated. If you have any interpretation, means if you have any disturbance, just once again you have to start with some points. Yesterday, okay, these are things you have practiced, today you will do this one. Yesterday I told this one and today you are going to do this particular work. Like that you have to take some feedback and you have to start with that. And also always pay undivided attention to the speaker while listening. When you're listening to someone, you should have the full concentrate on him. You should not divide or distract to him. Also while listening, always make notice of important points. Just note down the points what he is telling important and check out that one. So that will improve you, that will make you to remember those all points long time in your professional life. Next point, always ask for clarification if you have failed to grasp others' point of view. Means in different subject is having different points. Okay, they are giving some information. If you are not understood that other way, so some people are having different concept, different point of view. So that way you have to clarify that. Sitting with your subordinate, you just have the communication. So and make yourself that all points with different views you can clarify and you can come to the conclusion. And repeat what the speaker has said to check whether you have understood correctly or not. Means you have to check yourself. You have to make it repetition. Means whatever he has told, you have to say him, feedbacking what you can say. Or you can note down and you can say that. You can show that particular communicators. So these are some essential point of the good communications. And essentials of communication, what you should not do. Do not insultly react and murmur something in anger. So you should not insult anybody in front of, means in front or someone or in personally. So instead of insulting, you just find him what challenges he is having. Just sit with him and you can have a different style, different view to communicate with that person. Okay. Do not use technical terms of terminology not understood by the majority of people. Means some technology and terminology is what happens, they are not understood by some people because they are not gone through that, they are not across with in their professional life. So if you are using those all things, so they are unable to catch those all things. Before that, whether they are trained in that particular technology or technical field. So that's why if you're given the good technical support, technical terms and related technologies and terminologies, then only they will speak very, they will understand those all things very easily and they can explain to others also. Do not speak too fast or too slow. So some people should say, speak very fastly, just they go on speaking that one. Some they are having some time limitation like that. So so many things will be there. So instead of that, you can go for the not too slow also. They'll get bored. So if the person is saying, if you're saying one by one word, they may get the bore by listening to your long speech and very slow like that. So it is some normal. Do not speak too fast and do not, it should not be too slow also. Do not assume that everybody understands you. So some people saying, okay, I am using this much, they're not, all are understood. I am thinking like that, all are understood. So instead of that, just go with them and take the feedback, because you should not assume yourself, okay, all are understood. Sometimes what happens after class, okay, I think all are understood, okay, fine. So instead of that, you can take the feedback. So for that, you can come to know what they have understood. And while listening, do not look here and there, and it might disturb the speaker. So if the speaker is speaking by seeing you, if you're moving your head the left or right like that, seeing the watch, or stepping your foot on the floor like that, these all things will be diverted that particular speaker's mind also. They will get the disturbed to speak on that particular topic. Do not interpret the speaker. So you should not disturb when the person is speaking. Just listen calmly, and after that you can ask your doubts and whatever challenges you are having. Do not jump to the conclusion that you have understood everything. Means you should not sometimes, oh, okay, I understood like that, I can do it. So because that communication is not completed, still something is there that can be changed over there next. But what will you are very hurry? So just you say, okay sir, no problem, I understood, I can manage it. Instead of that, just listen. Don't come suddenly that conclusion. Listen, sit over there and listen perfectly and make it complete and give the feedback, and then only that is called you have understood completely. So that is the way. These are some things essential you have to continue. How to improve existing level of communication. Now what you are having, how to improve. You can improve the languages. You can have the capacity to use more vocabularies, improve pronunciations, work on voice modulation, increasing the sound and decreasing sound, and where you have to use that particular words in that particular sentences. Work on body language, moving your hands and movements and heads and chest, means shoulders and standing. So this all comes under the body languages. And read more, means you have to read so many number of books will be there. And now we are having lockdown. Instead of sitting idle, you can read some books in the home, and with that books you can speak something with your in front of your children or your friends, and you can communicate with your subordinates. And listen more videos and some authors and news. These all make you to rich in the language. Avoid reading or watching or listening unwanted lecturers, gossips, media presentations, etc. They will make you somewhat disturb on that particular things. So that's what there. The next slide. See, here some points are there. You can go one by one. Okay. Interact with quality peoples. What is the meaning of quality people? The person is having somewhat rich of knowledge, rich of common sense, rich of education, rich of his responsibilities. That you can call rich of time sense. So that person you can call quality people. So they're having the quality, how to use that quality time and these all things. So if you spend more time with that particular persons, you can improve on your topic of discussion. Okay, with that you can improve your discussion qualities and the communications and knowledge. These all things will be improved. And how to use, you can quality time, how you can make yourself quality person, like that it will help. Practice meditation and good thoughts. So if you're doing meditation every day morning, so in companies also 3 minutes meditation has started. So you are sitting together and we are giving some commands to our brain and making ourselves cool. That will make us the positivity in ourselves. Thinking and speaking, it will give us some patience to us. So whole day you'll have the patience and you'll think and calmly will think about that particular, and you'll speak and you'll have the good thoughts only, and the stress also reduce. Do not speak too fast. It is also unable to listen understand others. Use simple vocabulary. It's not like that using very richest vocabularies and sophisticated English. So sometimes that will not understand by the co-workers. So that's why use simple vocabulary. Here we are not here to show our English knowledge or something. You are here to give some information to work on that particular, वो काम होना चाहिए, उतना आप उतना अच्छी तरह से slowly उसको समझ आने जैसा बोल दिया तो हो गया, उसके लिए बड़ा बड़ा इंग्लिश शब्द से समझाने के हम जरूरत नहीं रही. So whatever the information required, that vocabulary you can use and you can speak with your subordinates. Do not speak only to impress the someone. So means some people what they will do, just they will speak to impress the others. So instead of that, you have to speak to understand them, to give the information for them. Look presentable and confident. That should be very good presentation, and you can show the confidence on that particular information. That you can learn if you are moving with these qualities. And improving body language tips. Some tips here, there. Keep up appropriate distance. When you're speaking with someone, you have to have some appropriate distance. Now your corona is there, at least you should have at least 2.5 meters. Okay. Keep appropriate distance and touch only when appropriate. Now the corona is not permitted to touch, forget it. Take care of your appearance. Okay, having the means good cloth means not every day wearing the new dresses and like that. So whatever dress you are having, that should be clean and ironed and good manners. Be aware, people may give false reminders. So some people should give the false reminder. You have to be very careful, and you have to be in the nice activities. Maintain eye contact. Always you have to see your audience eyes. That will make you to hold those people in front of you, and smile sincerely. Be frankly, honestly, genuinely, speak genuinely, and smile sincerely. So that will make you bonding with your co-workers, and they're very free with you, and they'll come to you and we'll sit together and we'll discuss together. So everyone will share their knowledge and everyone can improve themselves. So it's not the human being quality is you have to be improved. Not only ourselves, you have to help our subordinate to improve. So then only will have become the leader. And when you're having the quality to motivate your subordinates and helping them to become a leader, then you will become the super leaders. Okay, we'll go for the next. See here, effective communication skills. What are things will be there? Eye contact and visual means you should be very means eye contact, and you can see their eyes, and these are things what we had this in last slide. Body language, you should maintain silence and encouragement. Okay, and some questions, asking some questions and taking the answer of that. Summarizing what has been said, you can summarize and they can discuss with them. Smiling face, you should have a smiling face, because stress and anxious face will not going to present well. So they will also not having that much of an interest to listen you. So you should have some smiling face. Smiling face almost you should not smile. So when required, you have to smile and you have to into the information. Checking for understanding. In between, you can ask, have you understood that? If you're having any doubts, you can ask like that, have you understood that? So if you're having any confusions, you can clear now only, or like that, I'm always available. So these all words should be used in effective communications. And next, communication is two-way process. Okay, communication skill involves, one is the listener, one is the expressor, receiver, and sender. Okay, barrier of communication, how it will supply, you can see that in this particular symbol. Here is the sender is there. Here, okay, here sender is sending the information. So first, values and attitudes generation gap. These are things will come. Whether he is speaking by giving value, and what about his attitude, has gentle attitude or rude something, what attitude is having, and is there any generation gap. So these first thing will be comes under. When it will cross, the next barriers will come. Cultural difference. What is that cultural difference? So India is having different cultures, and everyone is having their own traditional and culture. According to that, they're having some beliefs and like that. So that should not be become the barriers. So that will come. And after that, language. If you're not using the particular language, perfect language, that will also become the barriers. Noise. If you're speaking and someone is speaking that side, or any other sounds, vehicle sound or machinery sound, in that also they will not unable to that particular word what you are saying in the correct manner. So they can understand other things, and work should be done in the different way. So like that, noise is also there. And hearing, some people are unable to hear correctly. Some people have some problem with some air or sound or something. So or they are thinking something. They're physically they are here, but mentally they are not here. So they are somewhere else. So at that time they are unable to hear. So passing on these all barriers, it will reach to the receiver, sender, message, and receiver. So this is the process. You have to very carefully observe these all things, these all barriers. Then only the receiver will receive complete informations. So in the last week, we have conducted some communication training, and we have done some practical games also. In that, I given some exercise. They are came to know that particular practically what will happen. Okay, in next when after lockdown, when we will together, we will combine, we will conduct some communication skills in our industry, and we will make practical sessions also on that. Okay, that is very interesting. And the barriers of effective communications, what I told: language, noise, disturbance, putting downs, and lack of interest, and disability and discomfort with the topic. If they are not having the interest to explain that, just like a duty they are doing. So distance. Means if you're standing with long distance and you're speaking something, is unable to hear, just you can understand your body structure, means body movements and like that. Too many questions if you're asking, or too many questions, they'll unable to understand, they'll be confused. And some other people, some more people will join with that, they're having some different opinions. Like these all things will become under the barriers of time. Sometimes time limit will be there, fastly they will say. So this all comes under the barriers of effective, that you have to cross everything. Abstraction of communication, that what I told: noise, interpretation of mind, conversions, misinformation, emotions, language differences, poor listening skill, distractions. So this all comes under the poor. Objectives of communications are to consider verbal or non-verbal communication method. So these are all objectives, what you saw in first slide. To understand and practice effective listening skills, means you have to understand, you have to, in communication, you have to practice listening skill first. So you should have the patience to listen. To communicate in clear, respectful, and non-judgeable way. So you should not judge at the time of communication. Let them complete that one. After that, you'll have the time to communicate with that, interaction with that player. Just you have to communicate clearly. To know when to speak and when to advise, means so you should have the common sense when you have to speak, when you should keep silence, when you should advise, when you have to receive. These all things comes under objectives of communication. So listening skills: active listening, responding, rewording. So whatever there is, sometimes what happens if you are not having that much of understanding capacity or memory, means at that you have to rewording, means whatever they say, just you have to say yourself once, or you note down that one. So that is called reword. Ask questions for clarification. Just ask the questions and make yourself clarify on that particular. Mirroring the other person's language. So whatever they are saying, mirroring means you just say once that words you can pronunciation correctly. So if you are speaking in any other language, let's listen and try to speak that one, that mirroring the languages. So that will make you to learn that particular language also. It is very easy to understand others' language also, others' co-workers' language also. And responding, what is the call? Response to check that you brought or correct, means you have to, whatever information your thoughts there, to check that one, you have to go for the respond to check that your thoughts are correct. Response to encourage further communications. See handout for further ideas. This all come under the responding. Questioning techniques. You should have a good quality of question text. Sometimes rudely they will ask, or some things that question is very difficult to understand sometimes. So you have to have the techniques to ask the question. The person that should not be get hurt and disturbed. In that way, you have to ask your questions. So whatever things you are not understand. Some people will say they want to show themselves, I'm having the knowledge. They will ask the question and they'll try to get that. Okay, I'm having the capacity to this particular. So that is not required, I think so, because everyone having their own all the knowledge, and no one is perfect in that. Everyone can learn one day that particular thing. That's why question should be very technically, they're very nice, and that person should be motivated to give that information. Individual differences, everyone is having a different understanding capacity, because different technically they are having different atmosphere, they have having the experience, according that having a different culture also. So that's why cultural diversity is there. So these are some things are there in the communication, you have to observe that. And after that, group processing. When group peoples are together and they are processing at that time, be mindful to practice. Means you should have the full information what you are speaking in that particular group processing. And after observing non-verbal words, non-verbal words means what you are acting, means what you would like to say. If you want to call someone, you will raise hand, you will move your fingers like this, means it is giving some information to that person. So non-verbally you are calling some other person. So that should be in a good manner. With that, you have to be very careful about non-verbal words also in the group portion. The listening, responding, and clarifying, rewording, and summarizing. These are the very essential quality of the group processing. Listening, you have to listen perfectly. Respond, when that should be respond, that you should have the carefully and respond. Clarify, you can clarify the what confusions you are having. Reword means whatever they have, so you can repeat and you can note down and you can explain to others. And summarize, you can make the summarize what are the things we are important things we have covered in that particular meeting. So group processing will completed. Identifying the barriers to communication. You have to identify the barriers. If there is a sound area will be there, or some any other disturbance will be there. First, you have to identify that barriers is there. So if is there any barriers, just you clarify and clear those all things and make it clear and start the group processing. And remember, silence is gold. Always, when you have silence, that is considered as gold. So, Maatu Belli Mona Bangara, anta helti Kannadadalli. Like that, silence is a gold, speech is a silver. So like that, and another one is there, platinum. Though what is there means silence is a gold, and when you speak words, so that will consider as a silver. When you speak, when it required in the right time, right place, that is called a platinum. So next, no one is perfect. You should have this one. No one is perfect. Everyone can have the capacity to learn the new things. That is the attitude you should have in the communications. And device of communication, what legal obligations will be there, sometimes anti-discriminations, privacy laws also, and code of conducting of organizations, and confidentially and gossips, confidentially some subjects will be there, gossips, seeking advice. So these all things, some topics are there. We will discuss in the next session clearly about this. Okay. And some message is same. Pinku, the door is open. Some example I like to give here how it will happen. So there's only one message is that Pinku, the door is open. So interpretation how it will happen. Please come in. The meaning of Pinku, the door is open. If you say like that, so means we are welcoming someone. Or sometimes, please leave. If that person is standing inside your room, if you are saying Pinku, the door is open, means you are giving information, please leave from here. And like that, according to that situation, that person where he is standing, what he is doing, and how it is, and what his position also. If that some room boy attendant will be there, you can warn him, Pinku, the door is open. We don't need to like that. The servant has to be careless again. Like according to that position, that meaning, and that sentence is having different meaning. Interpretation will be changes. The sentence will be same. So like that, communication is very powerful. It is having different interpretation according to that situation, according to that person, according to that time. So like that, you have to be very careful on the example I have here. So we'll go for the next some example. See, here a beautiful lady, a woman, is driving on the car. So from one side she's coming. So on the side, a man is driving on the same road but going in the opposite direction. From left side he's coming. So what happens here? Next point, when they intersect, the woman takes her window down and say horse. Just he told only one word. Immediately the man takes his window down and replies which. Of course, these cars are not having window given, and he told which. So what happens? What is the communication? She told what he thought. He blamed him. and once again he blamed her. And next slide, they kept going on their own way, but the man who is laughing for what he told to that woman takes the first curve, and what happens? So just he is laughing on her, and just he moving, and what happens, you see. So what she told, she tried to give some information, and that road, the horse is there, drive carefully. So that is interpretation of that horse, but he is hurry, and he is not understood what he thought. He is blaming something to him, and he once again blamed her, and he moved his car carelessly, and the result you can see on the screen. Okay, next we'll see one video that will give the communications examples. See, just read that words. Now see the intelligence of that rabbit. Yeah, now can you take me off from that list? Sure, no problem. See, just asking one question, you can survive over there. You can overcome from that challenges. Like that, communication will make you outcome on that particular problems. It will it will save your life also. So there is end of that particular communication skill session today, and after that I like to conclude this one. Another video, just enjoy it, and take care of yourself, and we'll meet as soon as possible early. All the best. Thank you. Only one answer. Action. For the Okay. Thank you. On and off.